So Victoria, next question, for you, you know, from a stakeholder client perspective, in your opinion, what is the value, of the sprint review to them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's a very valuable session to have. Of course, like we've said, that opportunity to give feedback, but also from a client perspective, oftentimes you won't just be holding the sprint review for just your client. It's also an opportunity for them to invite stakeholders of their company, and it gives them that moment to kind of show what they've been working on with us. So again, it's a trust building opportunity for them to show this is, all of that hard work that we've been working on. This is what's come out of it. And here is actual piece of working software that we've built, a new set of features that we've built in the past 2 weeks. So that's a really good moment. And I think overall, it's just a communication opportunity between the team and the client, or just any stakeholder really, or between the team itself, to have those routine check-ins. Of course, you hope we've always completely easily accomplished the entire goal, but of course there's opportunities where maybe there was a blocker along the way and there was something that we didn't quite finish. And we don't necessarily see that as a complete negative thing. It's an opportunity to bring that to the review and speak to it. Why didn't we accomplish this one task? And if it's a blocker on either side, that kind of puts it in everyone's face and really has like the tangible result of that blocker. Everyone just has to look at it, and then it motivates people to, all right, well, how do we fix that? So I think even the good or the bad, I think it's all good, because it's just an opportunity to communicate what's going on and everyone work together against that shared goal moving forward.
Absolutely. And, in terms of like blockers, oftentimes, at least, and I'll speak, from a smashing boxes perspective, oftentimes, if there are blockers on our side, really it's up to us, to sort of like resolve, any of those sort of internal impediments. And I say internal, I mean, on our side of the fence. And typically, if there are internal impediments, then, in a sprint review, we communicate that, hey, client, we acknowledge that this, is an impediment. We've got a plan to address it. We can share that plan with them. And again, that instills further confidence in our team. In the instances where those blockers are external, and they're not, our blockers, again, this is an opportunity for us to sort of, continue to further cement that partnership, with our clients, with our stakeholders and partners, and give them the opportunity and the awareness early to resolve any impediments on their side. Bad things and blockers will happen. And the worst thing that you can do is delay communicating, bad news. The sooner you can communicate bad news, or, if we even call it bad news, right, then the sooner people can work on resolving those issues. So, that's an excellent point of multiple points that you just made, about the value, of a sprint review rather, to a stakeholder partner or client. Jalen, if you can take the opposite side of that, and sort of like go into the value from your perspective of the sprint review to the actual Scrum team.
Yeah, so that's actually a great question, because I think a lot of times, it's easy for us. I'm a business analyst. A lot of us think sort of analytically, to sort of forget about the like emotional aspect, I think, of building products, right? And so I could easily point out the fact that, of course, it allows us to course correct internally and sort of resolve any impediments, as you mentioned. But in my experience so far, I think one of the biggest benefits that the sprint review has given our team is like just building positive momentum, right? And whether that's, like Victoria said, some people get motivated just based on, okay, we did have a blocker or we had some kind of impediment, but the fact that we were able to discuss it as a team, now folks are really, jazzed to go and knock that out. Or sometimes it's just as simple as, hey, getting that pat on the back from the client, that positive reinforcement that what you did and what you've been working hard on is going really well. That also just, it builds on itself over time, to the point that it just becomes almost like a compounding effect of sorts. So,
yeah. So that, you kind of raise like the psychological implications, to the team. And it reminds me of the famous Navy SEAL who said, like, one of his keys to success is that he makes his bed every morning, when he wakes up. And you start off with a win, right? And there are many, sort of books on success for teams and individuals that talk about celebrating the small wins, and those small wins accumulate, as in a snowball effect, into bigger wins. And so, I totally get that, the psychological benefits of actually showcasing, what you've accomplished, and getting the team even more excited to accomplish more and build on that, is very powerful. And, Jalen, you and I were having a conversation recently about gamification, and the implications of that. But, when we look at the analytics that we showcase, during our sprint reviews, it's almost like video game scores, right? People want to do better. You want to match your previous score and that sort of thing. And so there's a lot of psychological value, as it relates to team motivation baked in that. No, you're laughing. Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm just laughing, thinking back to the conversation you're referencing, because now that makes me feel like we need to add badges to the Scrum process.
Yeah. No. Well, so this is totally an aside. I'm sure at least one of my former colleagues and friends will be watching this. But in that environment with this former colleague that I won't name, and I won't name the company, somebody bought this trophy, and it was like a trophy of like some kind of a monkey with a crown on its head and a cape or whatever. And it was called, I forgot if it was called the Code Monkey or something like that. Right. But anybody on the engineering team who was responsible for breaking the build, they would get the Code Monkey placed on their desk, and it was a symbol of ridicule, derision, and shame.
Yeah, so, maybe not that badge. Maybe not that.
Positive reinforcement.
No doubt. Positive reinforcement. All right, cool. All right, let's see.